seconds. 4, 3, 2.
Well, I am delighted to be joined by Rebecca Long-Bailey, the third of the leadership contest, to join us for this segment. I'd like to show you George, who's a caricature artist.
Hi, George.
And what we're going to do here is we're going to chat. And as we chat, George is going to get some ideas and he's going to draw a caricature of you.
Okay.
It'll all be fine, I promise you. All right, so let's just start. What 3 words would you use to describe yourself?
Bolshy.
Bolshy.
A perfectionist. And confident.
It's interesting you say confident. Confident. One MP, I think, who's close to you or sympathetic, said you were genuinely quite shy.
I don't lack confidence, that's for sure.
So not true?
No.
You're running to be Labour leader. Your dad worked at the Salford Docks and your mum was a shop worker. Just wondering where you and why you got into politics. Was it to do with them?
It was to do with my parents growing up, yeah. So when my dad came home from work after his shift, when he worked at 2:10, I used to sit at the top of the stairs and nose. I was meant to be in bed and I used to nose at what my mum and dad were talking about. And he was a trade union rep for Shell. And he used to come home, so this was the early 80s, and he'd be talking about redundancies, pay disputes and the terrible things that he was going through at work. And then later on, my politics were shaped by the experiences that I had, like my first job was in a pawnbroker's, and I used to see people coming in all of the time trying to pawn their family heirlooms to make ends meet, and it made me really angry. But it wasn't until later in life that I actually got actively involved in politics, when I went to a Labour Party meeting with my mum and became quite angry because we got a Conservative government in 2010 at the time, and I realised that I couldn't just stand at the sidelines and shout anymore. I have to start kicking things from the inside out, as my mum says.
So right from the start, when they were working in the docks. And just interested that you worked in a pawnbroker's. Did you ever try and, like, keep stuff for people and not let it get sold?
You weren't allowed, and that was a sad thing, because we used to get people that came in and when their agreement had run out, because they had a certain period of time to come and pay the loan back, if you like, and they'd come in and you wouldn't be able to give it back to them. Or sometimes they'd come in and they'd give you a ring and you'd know that you were only allowed to give them £10, and they'd be saying, I need 20, and then your boss would be kind of looking over and you'd be like, I really want to give them £20. It was awful, really, and I thought, well, what kind of society are we living in where people have to do that when we're one of the richest economies in the world?
You were born near Old Trafford.
Yeah.
Does that make you a United supporter?
A United supporter, yeah.
Did you always used to go?
No. It's quite expensive to go to the football.
It was, yeah. It still is, I think. What's your idea of a perfect night in?
Just chilling out on the settee with my husband and my little boy, watching a film.
What type of film?
Anything. Depends. If it's with my little boy, it's probably going to be something like Minions or Despicable Me. If it's with my husband, it's probably going to be usually a funny film or a comedy or a horror film. I like horror films.
I heard you love Star Wars.
I do love Star Wars, yeah. I'm a huge Star Wars fan.
What do you like about it?
I've just loved it since I've been growing up, and you can draw a lot of similarities between the world of politics and Star Wars, you know, the resistance and all of that sort of stuff. Obviously, I'm a Jedi.
Thing that got you going. You're a Jedi.
Yeah.
Do you run around with a lightsaber or leave that to the
We have
kids?
actually got loads of lightsabers in our house, yeah.
The lightsabers are confiscated in my house. You share a flat in London with Angela Rayner, who's standing as deputy leader.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of political chat in the evening?
No, not really. We don't tend to talk about politics much. We talk about, you know, what we're going to have for tea normally, things like that, really.
What are you normally going to have for tea?
We like getting Chinese takeaways. Yeah. If we're not just making quick things like pot noodles, which happens quite a lot.
Pot noodles?
Yeah.
Do you love a pot noodle?
I don't love a pot noodle, but when you get in at like 10, 11 o'clock at night and there's no time to go to the shop or anything, we do have a stock of pot noodles. I had Angela's last pot noodle last week, actually, when she wasn't in. Chicken and mushroom, I need to get her another one.
I used to love them. I was going to ask you, what's your guilty pleasure, but is it a chicken and mushroom pot noodle?
I do. I mean, I don't mind pot noodles, but if I had to choose something nice, it wouldn't be a pot noodle. I like
Greg's
sausage, vegan sausage rolls.
They are
I'm not
so
even a
good,
vegan,
aren't they?
and I like great vegan sausage rolls.
Better than the actual sausage rolls. What's your perfect idea of a night out?
Oh, I haven't had an actual night out for that long, because I've got a 7-year-old, so we don't go out very often. But I think either going for a meal or going to the pub.
Oh, I heard you like to go out to Prodigy concerts.
I haven't been to a Prodigy concert for ages. I did take my husband to see Fatboy Slim last year, though, as one of his birthday presents, yeah. And that was like our big, crazy night out. Yeah.
What about clubbing?
I don't go clubbing anymore. I don't think they'd let me in. Too old.
They wouldn't let you in. I reckon they'd let you in. You're a trained solicitor.
Yeah.
But you've obviously done other jobs. You've told us about working at pawnbrokers. When Emily Thornberry was here, we asked her what the worst job she'd ever done was, and it was cleaning the toilets in a cross-channel ferry, and she described some pretty rough moments. What's the worst job you've ever had?
The weirdest job I've ever had was in a train bookshop. Because I'd worked in a bookshop before and I liked working in bookshops because you can just sit and you can read all the books and stuff. And one summer I remember going into one in Manchester and I saw all the train books downstairs and I thought, oh, it must be because it's near the train station, it's like a theme. And I went in anyway and I was like, oh, have you got any work going? And they said, oh, yeah, actually, we could do with someone over the summer. And then I started on the Monday and realised that it was a train and bus bookshop. So I learned all about the world of train spotting and bus spotting for about 6 weeks.
So you've got lots of opinions on trains?
Just we need to bring them into public ownership.
All of them?
All of them.
You famously gave Jeremy Corbyn 10 out of 10 for his leadership. How do you feel when people call you Continuity Corbyn?
I'm not anybody's continuity candidate, and it's quite disrespectful when people say that.
Do you think so?
Yeah, I mean, I'm strong to my principles, and I supported Jeremy because he believed in many of the things that I believe in, but we're certainly not the same person.
Well, definitely not the same person.
No, obviously, I don't have a beard, do I? Or an allotment.
Do you get on well?
Jam. I do, yeah, with Jeremy, yeah.
You weren't a member of the Labour Party all your life, were you, like other candidates? Why not?
No, well, it was later in life. I mean, I did what everyone, you know, is supposed to do in life, really. I was always political, and my parents were quite pushy, and they said, you know, Rebecca, we don't want you to go through what we've been through. We need you to get educated. You've got to have choices. So that's what I did, and I worked hard, and I did really well. And then I realised that a lot of people around me hadn't done well, and it wasn't because I was unique in some way, it's just because I was lucky, and that made me quite angry. And then in 2010, my mum's always been really political, shouting at the television, watching every news channel going.
What does she shout at?
Everything. She's got an opinion on everything, my mum. She's one of the most educated people I know, having left school when I think she was about 11. She could have been a dangerous woman if she had been to university, I think. That's what we always laugh about in our house. But we realised that we had to get her a hobby because she just retired and she was sending my dad mad around the house. So I said, well, you know, let's go to some Labour Party meetings together, and when you've made some friends, I'll leave you to it. And we went to that first meeting, and I remember being sat there and someone in the meeting said something about how we should means test hospital meals. And I just got so angry inside. And on the way home, I said to my mum, I said, I know, I said that I'd leave you to it once you'd made some friends, but if I don't sort the Labour Party out, then we're doomed.
So it's your mum who's the big inspiration?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. George, are you nearly done?
Yeah, I think we're there.
Oh, we're ready. Are you ready for the big reveal?
Okay,
I've warned
here
you.
we go.
I've warned you. Caricatures always have
You
big
ready?
noses. Here we go.
Oh, my God.
Sorry about the nose.
Can you talk us through it, George?
I like the lightsaber Jedi thing, though.
There
That's
you
good.
go.
Yeah.
I kind of thought that you were kind of fairly silent but strong,
Yeah.
and a bit of a fighter, and I knew that you were into the Jedi and Star Wars, so I thought, yeah, good Jedi there, bit of a ninja, you know. You've got the 10 out of 10 tribute there, you've got your train books there, you've got the Manchester United football, and you've got a bit of history there from your dad's job and the pawnbrokers.
That's really
all
good.
in.
That's so good. Well done, George. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
It's a pleasure.
Cool. We're done. Well done.